hit that save button, and then I'll hit the go live button. Going live. We're live. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
How are you?
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of. Quickly scroll down to get the dates. 25 of February. February the 25th to March the 3rd, 2023. Yeah, these painkillers definitely not having any sort of effect on my brain functionality.
Go! They sure make you help count good, right, Good?
Yes, and read words that I wrote myself. Only a couple of hours ago. Right, so we start off the week with a couple of things that did not air that week, and that is, what the hell's this,
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah,
Stone Ocean.
I suddenly got an error message flying in my.
Okay.
In my to my left saying.
Wrap it up signal already. Wow.
Going wrong.
Great.
It is. Let me just check the actual stream quality.
Yeah, I will also turn it on for the sake of keeping an eye on it.
Righty-ho, yeah, no, it seems fine. So I don't know. It's just lying to me. I think it's just because we're not moving enough. We should make more sort of girding YouTube faces that I can stick in the thumbnail. No,
I think if I replace myself with a Muppet, it'd count me better. I don't know.
Yes, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 6, Stone Ocean, Episode 35, Sea Moon, Part 2. In which our hero, Poochie, is like, why must
I like it towards the end where it focuses more on the villain, and he's like, there's a lot of motherfuckers coming for me right now.
Oh, it's just a turnabout for, now we're going to stalk you like a killer in a slasher film. You're going to go, oh, who's that? It's an event. Oh, shit. I'm so scared.
Yeah.
Save video.
But the difference is, I guess some people watch slasher movies for that reason. In this case, we're waiting for him to get fucking hit.
Oh,
yeah. That kind of way. Yeah. Some people do watch the slasher movies for the kills, so yeah. That's
and JoJo was very good at that. It's fun. Villains who always usually the most kind of sneering, arrogant motherfucker you're ever going to come across, and they kind of try and top that with every part. It's just, yeah, let's see them get like just shot in the nuts for an extended period of time. It's like the most like like painful and humiliating fucking beat down we can put on this dude.
Yeah
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so Pooch is like, I gotta find this Jolie, she shouldn't still be alive, how the hell is she still alive? And also I'm going to ignore Anansi because he's no threat, he's not destined to be a threat, so I don't even have to deal with this guy. But
he's just swimming around. He's no harm.
But turns out maybe he should, because Anansi's smarter than he's giving him credit for, as he starts throwing corpses disguised as himself towards Poochie to distract him.
He also had the spare clothes lying around as well, and a wig, seemingly great effect.
I can also put Diver Down into a guy's clothes and haircut to change it into me. So that's one of the many powers of Diver Down.
Or not this dude's here on a molecular level and get it so smooth and sleek to the atom.
But the thing which distracts him even more is Jolene touching him on his neck while all this is happening.
It's like a bug landed on him. It's like, oh, Jesus, where the fuck did that come from?
Oh, her head is so cold. Oh, because it's probably detached from her body at that stage.
He's following a blood trail into, I think, a canteen, isn't it, basically?
It's like a cafe. It's called like Universal G-Force Cafe or something, with the force represented by a pushing down symbol.
On theme.
I don't know if that is really there at Cape Canaveral.
There's extensive research on those locations, so I'm sure it is.
If it's there, it's the thing that inspired him to go, gravity, that'll be his last power. Perfect. Yeah, okay, I got it.
Yeah, and he kind of, this is, at least, unless I possibly because I wasn't paying attention, he properly describes what's happening at the point. Is the gravity is, he's the center of gravity at a certain points. When he changes his position, it changes the position.
So he can do like the thing in like a music video where he starts walking up the wall by just
dancing on the ceiling. Yeah,
exactly. But the way he says "I am the center of gravity" makes him sound like a real prick, because he is. So yeah, Yeah.
And it turns out the way that Jolene has survived and continues to survive as he punches her arms, as she tries to throttle him, is through the powers of the Mobius strip. You can't turn something inside out if there's no inside or out to it.
Yeah. So she's changed various parts of her bodies that are getting injured into string, because the string is her body and her body is the string, and turning that string into a Mobius strip that is constantly spinning. So it's just figure eights she's made of towards the end of it.
Yeah. Even when she gets hit in the head, I guess like the force of the blow is just pinging around for infinity inside of it.
It can't sit anywhere. Yeah. It's constantly moving. It's constantly trying to turn itself inside out, but the Mobius strip just keeps turning into itself because that's all it is. And I was just like, that's a fun one. That's a really good. That's a power that only works specifically against this other power, but it's still a really good use of it. Yeah.
And for a CG effect, it's pretty good. It's like it looks kind of very otherworldly and strange, bizarre, you might say.
There's a few ropey bits of animation in this, but that is one of the good ones, and they do save the budget for the bit that they need it to be. So that's fine.
And also, I'd watched this after I'd watched High Card, so it didn't seem ropey compared to some of the stuff which was in this week's episodes of High Card. So he's like, "Oh my goodness, this isn't working. I need to come up with a different plan. Something will bring itself to me though, because I'm destined to win this."
Keep talking.
I'll just wander around, changing where gravity's going. Oh, that security guard's falling toward. I'll grab his gun. I'll use bullets instead.
Now I have the stand power of gun.
I've got 2 stand abilities. Check it out.
Because initially he was just walking around the room, letting various bits of furniture fall everywhere, spreading ethanol in various different directions.
I thought it was like gathering all of the fucking furniture in one corner. You could like tip it over in one go.
Yeah, I think he was waiting for something cool to fly by him, like a security guard with a gun on him. Which
again, I've completely blanked this bit of the story now. From just before it, and then the ending is what I can't recall. But this bit seems to escape me, and I was glad it escaped me because. Shots are fired. Fucking Jolene, she's got no time to dodge. What's she gonna do? She's got all time in the world because the world has been activated. And then we start playing the old action JoJo theme because did do, and it's like, oh no, Dad's home.
It's done in nice contrast to Jolene's theme playing earlier when it's showing how the fuck she's surviving this insane power being hit at her, and I was just like, that's nice. So they both, like, the father and daughter themes both get a go at this episode.
Yeah,
I know. This is so satisfying. It's again, we gotta fucking call him in. We call him in. This is fun third time we've had everyone like get him in, fun tag him in, and just get fun clean up stuff on the whole mess. But it still gets me every time though. So I can see why he does it.
Yeah, it is very satisfying. So yeah.
Yes. So Poochie gets a punch from Jotaro, and also Hermes is here, and also the animator who really loves Mike Mignola is here because suddenly everybody's drenched in shadows and look really cool. As Hermes explains exactly how this has happened. Is it 3 kilometers above the ground? The Speedwagon Foundation launched a harpoon at the Kennedy Space Center. She duplicated the harpoon and continues to duplicate it, I assume dragging Jotaro with her, so they could reach the location. Because despite gravity, her ability to duplicate something and then rejoin them together is not affected by the gravity.
Yeah, because things just fly towards each other with as much force as they are capable of doing. So that doesn't really affect gravity. And they've also Jotaro's punched Poochie satisfyingly through a window and like bent rebar around him, and I was just like, fucking yeah.
I wanted to just laying down. Oh, how does it feel for us to explain our plot to you when you're helpless and trapped? It's not so fun, is it? It's like, I've been awful pain here.
And importantly for the remaining chapters, is Emporio is the one doing the speech explaining how Poochie is fucked up.
It's good. It's the same as the young lad from Diamond Breaking Football and saying, you're surrounded, Poochie. You're in the heart of justice right now. There's no escape. There is an escape. There's always an escape. Because they figure out an escape because they're the fucking end villain. They have the game-breaking power.
Yes.
So if I stand on different bits of this rebar I'm trapped in, I can just like fly off into the fucking sky by making that the new down. And
yes, and
I'm gonna make the new moon come to me.
I'm gonna take this space shuttle and I'm out of here. Is eventually his plan. But yes, obviously the initial plan while he's flying off in a bit of rebar is Jataro's like, "Hey, armies, shoot him with that gun."
Yes, but he's also he's also boasting though at this point that. Why was I fighting the Joestar bloodline? They're actually the biggest allies I've had because they've put this thought into my mind.
They've been pushing me further and further, basically. Yeah. If it wasn't for them, I'd be sitting happy in prison. But as it is, they've pushed me to this point where I realize, wait a minute, I've got really cool powers and I can do crazy shit with them. And Jataro's like, well, I'm just going to freeze time. So while you're deflecting those bullets, I'm going to throw you this harpoon. I learned this trick off a guy called Dio.
Yes. But yeah. But then as time is frozen, Poochie's eyes briefly move and spot the harpoon. Which I thought
that's some bullshit. It's like, with force of gravity, actually time is relative. Upon saying, shut the fuck up,
I assume that's
shut
what
the
they're
fuck up. It's the world. You shouldn't be allowed to fucking trick the world.
But I guess it's to do with how gravity affects time.
Yeah, that's my guess. Yeah.
Yes, keep that in mind for the ending.
Yes, and now he's going to get inside the exhibition space shuttle, take it into the sky, and find the exact spot where he can start the process.
I'll know where gravity is weakest because for some reason lasers will start shooting out of my body.
Yeah.
That's a good sign, but a really good sign as it's going your way.
It's good visual. I mean, it does actually look cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been reading the manga as it goes on Shonen Jump's website, and I'm beginning to sympathize with the animators. And there's a spot in this episode where I was definitely seeing the problems of adapting the comic as he was writing it there. I think he's got better with it when he goes to a monthly comic when partway through Steel Ball Run. But quite often the panel transitions don't follow the action particularly well. It's made worse because we're reading all the modern stuff in Shonen Jump, where there's a lot of comics at the moment in Shonen Jump, which do panel-to-panel action transitions fantastically. But there's a bit in this episode where Poochie is looking towards the exhibition space shuttle. And then in order to presumably go from the panel where he's doing that to the panel where he's now got his back to it's the picture behind your background.
Yes, that's
like shot.
Yes,
yeah.
Where he has to they animate him maneuvering into that position. It's one of the most clumsy bits of animation I've seen.
I met at the background because it made me laugh when it happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like he's got both hands full. He's just got a phone call. He's holding the phone like in between. It's just like, oh no, yeah, I'm here, still here.
I got to pose to the angles behind me. Okay, here we go.
And it would kind of work from panel to panel, but it's not that great a transition going from that angle to that angle, and it looks even worse when you try and animate it.
It's not that even the comic is the worst panel to panel action, but it doesn't translate to motion that well. I think what a lot of the JoJo's we watched have suffered from was that unlike the Diamond is Unbreakable, they didn't have someone coming in with like a really interesting creative voice to do those really lovely scene transitions and stuff to make those comics work better for emotion.
Yeah, and my fear is we'll never see Steel Ball Run purely because animators won't want to animate horses.
I know, but give me the horses. Give me. I know those guys can do amazing CG openings. Can they make a muscly horse? That's all we fucking need.
That is true. I almost wonder whether it would be better giving it to Kamikaze than leaving it with David production for Steel Ball Run. Just go full CG for the horses.
What's had a good horse or even a decent horse? Because even in Vinland Saga, they have a CG ones, for the wide shots, but up close they don't seem so bad. This the guy would have a lot of action though.
Yeah, I can only think of the the gay horse in the superhero anime from '87. A name escapes me, but he walks around on two legs, so he's not relevant to this discussion. And the horse, it's the horse from the Secret Garden anime is the one I think of, just like being a horse drawn by somebody who's never seen a horse before.
The test is going to be here is actually coming up in JoJo right now because the final version of Poochie, the stand he uses, it's got a lot of horse characteristics to it. So
Okay.
how well do they make that look? And that will be your indicator, a little hors d'oeuvre about to taste what Field Ballroom might look like.
Okay.
We will see. But yes, we leave this episode with Poochie seemingly victorious as his stand prepares to change once again.
I guess it's a real downer because it's like, what, 2 episodes left? And it's just him going to be having a big victory lap, I guess.
3, I think. I think there's 3.
3,
left.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
I think we're 35, there's 38 episodes. And,
Okay.
last time we did the maths, so that's 3. Then we got Detective Conan, the Culprit Hanzawa, episode 4, the jet black shower scene.
Oh yeah.
The first great gag is hiding the modesty of a man whose entire body is already censored. Just going through the motions of the steam covering him, the objects being placed in front of his crotch. For somebody who's completely naked, essentially, all the time in this show.
And they use it again when he gets out, he has to get out of the shower when he realizes there's no shampoo. That's not provided. He has to bring his own shampoo. And he's just like, fuck, my hair looks a fucking state. I can't go out like this. Everyone unlock me. And again, he is a black shadow and has no distinct features.
And he's brushing his hair. He's getting his brush stuck in his hair.
Yeah.
But we can't see.
Yeah.
It's like a really tight curls there. Very tight, just completely smooth over, once they get bunched together close enough.
So yeah, he has to go out, like kind of like hiding himself in public. It's just like, I need to go out, get my shampoo, but the first person he sees has a ridiculous haircut. So he's like, oh wait, I'm in an anime. I'm probably fine. It's probably going to be okay.
Yes. So he goes to a convenience store. They go, how many shampoo? He goes to another. He's pondering, why are there no supermarkets in this town? Why are there only convenience stores everywhere?
Yeah. There's no big brand supermarkets where you'd have all the bits you need. And he's just like, so like a convenience store. And in the meantime, he's attracted the attention of a small boy and a teenage boy who are suspiciously following him because he looks like he's up to no good.
Yes.
At the moment, he's just trying to buy shampoo, but he is planning on murdering as soon as he gets his life in fucking order, including the shampoo part.
He keeps on thinking about murdering the party people he shares this house with.
See, he doesn't want them to see him with terrible hair, because if they see him with terrible hair, they'll mock him, and then he'll get the instinctual thing to murder them.
Yeah.
And he wants to murder that specific guy. I'm fine with murder them after the one guy I do want to kill, but I can't do any murders up to that point, because I need to make sure that one goes off without a hitch.
He eventually finds a fictitious version of the Don Quixote chain, which of course has everything, as I know from playing Yakuza games. So he goes in there, and he spots the party people who share his house with him, and they're talking bad about him. But then
like, do you want to invite that guy? He's a bit creepy. I don't know. And he's like, oh, I'm fucking going to pick up this barbecue skewer and I'm going to fucking murder these guys right in Don Quixote's. But the guy who seems like the most like cool guy who take the piss out of him is like, hey, come on, be cool. He's probably like a really sound-out guy. We'll invite him in because it's more fun when we're all different and we're having a good time together. And he's like, oh man, that's really sweet. And then they spot him. It's like, hey, isn't that him? Isn't that Hanzawa over there? He's like, oh fuck, gotta go. Yeah.
He goes to the baths, washes his hair. He's got to wait.
They have shampoo in the public bath. There you go.
And nice water to relax in.
Also, at this point,
Conan and your man also follow him into the baths and also relax in the baths while investigating him. Yeah, they're there the whole time in the background.
Yeah, the way they draw Conan in this as being extra small, he's smaller than he is in the normal show.
Like at one stage it's raining and your man tucks him into his jacket. Yeah. It's adorable.
The killer does that when they're following him around, and it's going to get that like cool guy sticking with your phone. It's going like didn't, and then like later on, oh, it's going to break into a run, and then fire, and they gotta break into a run.
They play it at high speed. They both get caught in the rain, so they both have to hide under the same eaves and just stay out of the water.
You get a sort of sad piano version of that then as well.
There's a lot of good jokes in this. Yeah.
Oh man.
Other than the end, they had a fun party after all. Nobody had to be murdered.
Yep.
It's just like, yeah, if I'm following this dude around, if I'm profiling this guy, he's literally just trying to, like, go on a chat, he's trying to find a particular foreign product. I'm like, fuck off, Conan, get the fuck back.
You can catch me after I've done a crime. You've never prevented a crime, Conan.
Go fucking get a girlfriend. Get the fucking just follow people around, you little weirdo.
Yeah, I think my favorite drawing of Conan is when Heiji's carrying him, but Conan's like got his wrist darts.
Oh, he's ready to knock this guy out at any second. Yeah.
Like, fuck off, kid. This guy's probably just like trying to get on with his housemates. Like,
I mean, like, another thing I gotta say about enjoying about the show. It's very anti-police and boy detective, so that's pretty good. Yeah.
Then we got Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, Season 3, Episode 20, Bad Company and Heartfelt Cooking Class. There's some fun with the stereo sound in the pre-credits opening with the chairman running from side to side on the screen.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Worth watching in headphones. It seems to be made entirely for that purpose and to fill time, but it is funny. So
yeah, I mean, this entire episode is to fill time because the last episode's next week. So part one, Bad Company. It's Iruma hanging out at Lee's house. They're playing video games together.
I've never done this before in my whole life. You know, none of those like boyhood experiences that you gotta get through. And then it's like, hey, we're gonna have fun.
Nice.
We're both teenage boys. Video games are cool. What about girls and dirty magazines? Yeah. We shouldn't have these. Oh, come on, Iruma. Come on, don't be stuff. Just put a little wuss.
It's like, haven't you ever seen these before? Yes, I used to use them as fuel to keep warm. Oh,
I get you. Yeah.
And it's like, even the name of the magazine is incredibly mild. It's like, it's only slightly perverted.
It's the equivalent of reading, like, you know, the lingerie catalog. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a bit racy now to a young mind, but you know, it's just nothing completely graphic in there. You know, but that's what you know these romantic ideals are founded upon. It's like, you know, it's what you don't see.
They're discussing picking the what pronoun they need to use, the personal pronoun they need to use in the game. And they're like, we're finally old enough that we could use ore because we're the only ones still using Boku in the class.
We gotta man up. Let's go. Yeah.
We keep on cutting to somebody else in the house who's getting increasingly annoyed that they're being kept awake by these two teenage boys. And it turns out to be lead sister Shaki, who I don't think we've met before.
Who looks very likely, and don't tell either of them that because they'll both take it as an insult.
Yeah.
I think you said her name before, or it came up during like you know, the family or parent teacher meetings there a little while back, and I know that come up in it. Yeah.
But when she sees that there is another boy here, she quickly closes the door, and the great gag of this is the sound effects of her making herself over very quickly. In order to hit on Iruma.
To hit on him as practice, but also he's the chairman's grandson. I mean, like, you'd be getting in
Scion
there.
for a major fortune. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And when it's first not effective, she then goes out and comes back in again in a different costume. And this was maybe I was like, hang on, are Iruma and his sister, Lead and his sister the only two openly horny characters? Is it everybody else? Horniness either repressed or like
I think you're the succubi. She wants to be horny, but she's like, maybe if I release my inner horniness, but she hasn't done that yet.
Yeah,
she's more so making people horny for her. So
as Modius expresses his love is completely platonic, and I just like love for his boss man pretty openly. You know, if that's honestly the way he depicts it, and that's being very open about it.
Like, his is the closest to horniness, and it is love, and it'd be like calling Clara's thing horniness, which it isn't. That's
no, hers is
no. Dosa is horny for her. She's after everybody. Like, all these handsome young boys. I must have them for myself. And the Eiko was like, no, because she's kind of repressed in a way because she's taking photos of Iruma from into a long lens.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the other characters' ones are done through that kind of that childish lens where they're not aware of their own feelings yet.
Yeah,
like Clara, it could be romantic, it could be platonic. They're too young to know at this stage, basically.
Clara's always comes across like hormones are going off, but her brain can't process.
Yeah, again, too young to figure it out. Yeah.
Because then it's like the the difference between Shaki and Lead and Amory and Iruma is drawn very clearly in the following story, where Amory and Iruma do some cooking. And the great gag here is the reveal that not only is Amory a bad cook, which I think we already do, is that Iruma is also a terrible cook.
I mean, like, it's come up before where basically, like, it actually came up in this arc where he's just like, I just put everything in a pot and fucking eat it. Like, that's how I've lived this long.
I guess, like, it just had to work out sometimes because a lot of things are like cooked in a pot for ages, like chilies and stews and what have you. But, like, he's got no, like, real sense of the flavor, but just fun saying, will he, like, maybe allow me to survive another day? Good. That's all I need.
Also, but worse for Opera is he's given them instructions. And the instructions tell them exactly what they need to do, and they're just ignoring the instructions, which is driving.
Put in
Opera
200 grams
crazy.
of butter. How much is that? The whole thing? Yeah, probably, right? Fun. Okay, sugar.
Looking at a spatula. What's this? I don't know. Chop it up and put it in.
Eggs, fun. Oh, put the shells in. Oh, you guys put shells in. Shells are full of protein too. You can't waste them.
And Iruma crying later when he's like, "No, we throw the eggs in the fucking recycling."
No. They're going to compost. It's fine. It'll be okay. And it's a bit fucking Chika trying to teach fucking your man in Kaguya-sama. Where it's like, can you teach me how to rap? Can you teach me how to sing? And saying, yeah, sure, let's do that. It's just completely ashen face by the end of it.
You've killed me a little by making me do this. Yeah.
They got there in the end, but only after I think. On countless attempts anyway, and this is the way to make like biscuits. That's all it's for.
I assume it's a very it looked like a pretty simple like butter cookie recipe kind of thing, and I was just like, yeah, that's easy. Can't fuck that up. And then I was watching them, and I was like, this is frustrating as someone who got into baking over lockdown. Yeah. I can't directly.
Iruma's invited Amory because she's been banned from the family kitchen by her father.
Because I made cookies so good once. I'm experiencing. They said never make them again. Those were too rich.
Yes, because we know from the characterization of her dad that he would never break his daughter's heart by telling her that she was terrible at cooking. And so, but she thinks that is this practice for marriage? In her,
is Grandpa going to come in? And Opera's like, Grandpa. I mean, the chair demon. Sorry.
Can't call him that.
Yeah. Can't call him that. Yes. Yeah. We'll hang on to that one.
No, he is surprisingly busy today, as if to say, it's odd that he's not here because he normally would.
Because he would totally be into this. Yeah.
This sort of plot, but he's into the cookies when they get made at the end.
Opera, we're throwing a party for me receiving these biscuits from my grandson. Again, sir, very good.
A party for any given reason. And it's much like the first part where it's, teenage boys hanging out in a bedroom, having a laugh, being kids. And I was like, that's cute. And these two were also cute where she's like, I have to prop you up on the counter because I'm much taller than you so I can give you these cookies because I don't want to be condescending and pass them down to you. And I'm very tall and you're very small. And
it'll never work. But it has to.
Oh yeah, and the punchline of the first part was that both Lead and Iruma thought of the other one as their little brother.
Yeah. But Iruma voiced it first, so that's what I say is locked in now.
But I told my sister, I'm not sure that won't hold up in court, And you just be like, no, normally like Iruma will give in, but not for this. One say, no, I'm totally more confident one here. I know it is.
He's one of the few people Iruma is taller than in the class.
Yeah. Then we got TRIGUN Stampede, episode 8, Our Home. Whose house is it?
It's Vash's house. It was Vash and Knives and their caretaker / mother figure Rem's house, but then all those bishops fell out of orbit. Which, luckily some survived. We're actually able to colonize this planet now, but not, optimally. So some survivors of Side Crash, they found it at the young Vash, like in a desert and brought him to kind of copy me. This is like some kind of weird plant person.
Plant-human hybrid by the look of it. And you're one who's running that. I think she basically inherited it. I presume whoever was in charge of that ship is dead. She's next in line.
And then Brad, is just like the big, just the kind of jock.
I don't trust this weird plant kid. I think we should cut him loose. He says he has no powers, unlike his twin brother, who he claims is dead. So let's let's just let him off. And she's like, that'd be kind of fucked up to let a kid off into a desert planet with no hope of survival. We'll hang on to him a little bit longer. Surely he'll eventually figure out what he's useful for. And she's very nice to him, but they are keeping him in jail for most of the fucking bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a kind of I guess some kind of protocol for dealing with this kind of life form or something like that. It's a very delicate mission after all. But it's just like, well, it's not most plants that have to make electricity or produce fresh water or some other useful thing that we've engineered them to do. But it's like we don't know what to do with this. But again, as a child, they just can't recognize that. But we can't learn anything. Boy proves what he can do because being a plant person himself, you can communicate with the actual plants themselves. And now you've seen them kind of full on be like not just this little kind of ball of light you see them and other times, the cool kind of weird alien angel thing floating in a jar. Those are cool things. So Worm's kind of is malfunctioning because shit, maybe he can't interact with the environment on this planet if he crashed on. But Bash comes in and says, no, let me in, coach, I can do it. It's like fun. It's all right, we're good, we're easy, we're good. He's able to kind of like put it at ease or get it back on into sensibility. But I'm saying, this is what you can do, kid. We'll take you in, and you're going to be one of us now. You're out of the cell. We'll give you an actual room and an actual bed, And
instead of putting you in handcuffs, we're going to give you like a guard to make sure that you're okay. But, just in case something goes wrong, but we're going to have you go, like up into his teens, going around to the different bits of crash ship where people survived and making sure their plants stay on, basically.
Yeah. It's that. It's just like he's carved out his little home for himself. He's like kind of getting a little bit over this trauma or things. Because he gets forgotten about Knives, and Knives is still out there, and it's like he's the one who fucking did the horrible things. I
think it's the thing that upsets them is they finally get the black box after like a couple of years working from the Vash's ship, and they have Knives' whole speech of it's like, but you were my accomplice, Vash. You gave me the passcodes.
No. I knew that little creep was up to no good. So, but he was sent to the betrayed one. Say, no, Brad, no, this one, and then we left a coat after him, the cool red coat. We just got him. He'll grow into one of these days. If you just got that, he's right away. Probably because he heard what you said. It's like, oh man.
So yeah, and they find a note saying it's like, I'm gonna go try and fix this problem because what do they call? They call Vash like the human plant hybrid something.
Individuals or what was it like that?
Is it independent?
Independent.
I think it's independent. Yeah. So like an independent causes problems. So I'm an independent. I'm gonna sort it out. So he goes off into the desert to confront his brother. We don't see what happens, but he does wake up back at the colony they've now called home. And with a robot arm, and he's like, well, I guess they saved me because I really got fucked up in that whole situation. So it's kind of the thing of it's not that they trust him again, but they see he's trying to do the right fucking thing. He's not doing a great job of it, but he's trying.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like again an interesting kind of way that they're kind of like going with it, because we're taught that because you only get kind of fragments of it mostly of like from old video logs of Rem, who was again the mother figure to this and would have instilled some of the values, and you always see a little bit of like a home video. Well, we had a little birthday party for them, and it was super cute. Knives has been kind of precocious fun, saying, "Oh man, this is so dumb and fun." Bash is going, "Oh, it's super exciting," because
Knives is annoyed because Knives doesn't need to eat or drink like Vash. Whereas like, I don't even get to have the birthday cake, and she's like, it's about celebrating it, and Vash is like, can we have a birthday next year? And she's like, ha ha ha.
That's the idea.
Have a birthday every year. It's all very nice and cute, except for the one little weird kid who turns out to be a mass murderer. So
maybe
it's
if you just knew the joy of eating a bit of cake, it would never have happened. Maybe if you just tried the cake, it would have been fine. It's just that's where it all started. It's kind of like Luida, who's like the main one of the main scientist ladies here on the second one. She's like kind of more of an elder, an auntie, I suppose, more than maybe it's more the kind of mother thing, that kind of. But it's like she has like kind of thing kind of walked off from him. It's kind of interesting to just kind of see like the always kind of crop up because you see her, you meet her in the manga, but she's actually an old woman by then. You kind of get, oh, these are the people who've kind of held on to a lot of technology from the space age, and she's obviously known Vash for a long time now. She's like an old woman now, so it's kind of because I don't think I ever saw her like at any at this stage, when she was like younger and a bit of that, and I think Brad was actually there in the current time in the comic now, so I hope we see him now as an old man because he was still kind of a big musty dude with a pompadour and that as well. But it's he was like current day in the action of it. So again, we see him as a kind of tough old man or something. That'd be neat. So I was seeing now, will they actually just show any more of what he did when he encountered knives? We'll just kind of lets you fill in the blanks of what might have happened to a dude whose power is to what this plant makes is lots of knives that cut everything.
He makes infinity knives, and Vash came out of there with one less arm. What do you fucking think happened? It's just make it show
it. Coma for a number of years, seemingly.
They both grew their hair out the same way. That's kind of weird, but all right.
Yeah,
must be something to be doing and being a half plant. Yeah.
Yeah. But probably just cut to him in the way he gets to wandering around and how he can, how he causes disasters by being a nice dude.
Yeah.
Then we got Inspector, Season 2, Episode 20. And so the ruler disappeared.
We got quite the case for you today, Inspector.
I am a rich hotel magnate. And I kind of acquired this fortune or control of it after my wife died, because she was the heir to this famous family fortune who made
married
hotels.
Into the I think it was Otonashi. He married into the Otonashi family, but the original owner did want his daughter to take over. It's just that he was also good at business, so would be a good husband / support for his wife, and he was. She was expanding the hotel beyond its capabilities. It was going a bit too. It was expanding too fast, too quick, and it was kind of losing control of it, basically. And
she was pressuring her kids into being part of the business, and she was kind of trampling over their dreams and overlooking the children who actually wanted to be part of the business, and they were overlooking them.
It was like the oldest son didn't want to take over the business. He wanted to be a chef, and she was like, "No, you're taking over the business." The youngest son did want to take over the business. She's like, "No, you're the youngest, so you don't get to take over the business." And the daughter wanted to marry a guy, and she was like, "No, not going to happen." So she's ruining their lives. And the husband's like, if only I go off to a mountain retreat, if only I could kill her, then if only she'd die, then that would solve all the problems. So fortunately, a fox spirit happens to overhear him. And he's like, "Gotcha. Did you say murder someone? I'll do a favor for you if you do a favor for me." And he's like, "What do you want me to do? I want you to build a hotel on that mountain over there where those fuckers I don't like live, because they'll hate that. They'll hate a bunch of humans traipsing about the place. So you do that for me, and I'll kill your wife within a week or a month," I think he says. But he does.
And it was 2 weeks later, job done. It's fun. Oh, she's been killed. It was a burglary gone wrong. And then he gets checked by a dude in the street and said, "Is that favor not paid to you?" He's obvious fox spirit in disguise, has the eyes up there like that. It's like, okay,
as a furry collar, as his human disguise, that kind of thing. And he's like, "Yeah, so I built the hotel within a few months." And he's explaining this to our heroine. While they're having tea, and she's making all kinds of jokes about what kind of cake she wants. It's like, "Why would you call me about this situation?" Acting pure innocent. She's not.
Look,
I don't believe in ghosts. I'm a child of science with my glass eye and my prosthetic leg. And
listen, kid, I know about fox birds, and they all tells me that you're the big cheese in this world. So I did murder my wife, and it did well out of it. My 2 kids are well of it. But now I'm dying, and I've only got a year to live, and I feel like I'm fucking absolutely guilty about it. So
the problem is, right, that I killed my wife. I set her up to die, so that makes me complicit in her murder. So I'm a murderer. So, and I got away with it for 80-something fucking years. I'm an old man. I'm gonna die of, I think it's inoperable cancer or something like that. But I got a year to live. So I need you to prove to my children that I murdered my wife, and that crime doesn't pay, because basically crime paid really fucking well for me, and I don't want them to learn that lesson from me. That would be bad. It worked out great for my family, but I don't want them to think that's a good idea. Reasonable request, but the way he has to go about it is really fucking awkward. So she kind of informs her boyfriend of that over him ironing their clothes, And then the following scene where they're trying to win one of those pens out of a gacha machine that when you turn it upside down, the lady's clothes fall off. It's all weird places to have conversations, but it works quite well for some reason.
I'd rather something like that where it's kind of sitting like in a room and it's just fun, saying fun, just having like tea if it's fun. Because like the guy like 1-shot, 2-shot, 1-shot, close up, medium, close up, medium. I was like, it's actually kind of doing something, even if it's just weird. It's trying to get the sexy lady things out of the gray machine.
Or ironing your shirts is a thing that needs to be done. And I like the kind of the banter that's not to do with the plot, where he's like, you can just get a pack of pens in a convenience store, and she's like, no, these ones the lady's clothes fall off. I got to have them. I got to have these salacious
3,
pens.
2, 1, lift off.
Like she's just being a weirdo, and every time they're like, when the fucking the claw like drops it after or barely misses, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It was basically, we're gonna have a fun murder mystery evening, or I'm gonna have fun to declare that I did kill their mother. No, because that was plenty of idea. The one thing would be that way, but now they're kind of, if I'm gonna just come out with it and say it, as ridiculous as it sounds.
The rules will be whoever can prove with the best evidence and the best story how I killed your mother, then that person will inherit the majority of my fortune on my death, so there's an incentive to do it.
Can you frame me for a murder I committed?
I did do it, but and basically she's there is like, but you did do it. It's like, yeah, but they're not going to believe that whole fox spirit thing. They think crazy old man. It's just like, no. I want you to make their story more convincing, so they could, and he's allowed them to change their story as they fucking tell it. And it's like, this is over the course of 2 days. It's a really weird setup. It's like, but yeah, the guys who he's got is the youngest son who's running the hotel business, the husband of the daughter, because the daughter's apparently a dope, but the husband's actually really smart and he should be able to come up with something good, and not the oldest son's, because he's not interested in doing anything.
The daughter of the chef's son, because he's
his granddaughter, and she wasn't there, so she'll be unbiased in her opinion. We've got a perfect fucking different things of people who have different incentives to frame me for the murder of their mother / grandmother in this case. Yeah,
this is really just like fun. Code to go. You're just gonna make them do your job for you, because your job is literally to come up with an explanation that suits all parties.
So she'll help their lies basically, and she's like, "You're okay with me telling a lie?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And she's going. The reason she says to the boyfriend is like, it's good that he's being moral by trying to frame himself with this murder and make sure his kids don't also do murders to solve their problems in the future. But the fact that he went to me after going to a fox spirit means he's willing to do crazy shit. So there's still a potential for him to do evil. Because if you come to me, you're basically a little bit evil because I'm a weirdo. And he's like, "Are you sure you're not the baddie?" She's like, "No, I'm definitely not the baddie. What are you talking about?" That's impossible.
No, can't be.
So it's a very weird. It's not even a how catch 'em or make up a lie on how catch 'em. I guess is the genre here all of a sudden.
It's the film version of Cluedo.
Yeah.
It's different endings. Come up with your own ending. Yeah. It's all set up now, and I guess this would be the one where it's like, okay, one person will tell their story, and then she'll fucking edit it or try and punch them or find all the holes in it.
Yeah.
And then the next episode is someone else's turn. So this is where it's going to slow right down. I think it's going to be fun.
It's probably going to be fun of making up a series of lies and adding to the lies and subtracting and changing, altering them, or possibly taking. It's like, I liked what you did in your story, so I'm going to add that into this person's story to make it more plausible. That kind of
make it exciting though, because you've seen literally this sort of thing happen just recently in Bungo Stray Dogs, and that was fucking a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster of fucking an expedition dog trying to debunk a mystery. So it's got some big shoes to fill here.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got episode 8 of season 2 of Vinland Saga, An Empty Man. This is what they say on Crunchyroll. Thorfinn continues to be haunted by his usual nightmares. Thorfinn, who had thought only of revenge as he lived on the battlefield, lost his reason to live when Askeladd died. Einar and Sverkel tell the troubled Thorfinn that people can change.
That's basically, it's just letting Einar know what is up with you, dude? What's your whole deal? Where you're from?
You're calling out father and Askeladd in your sleep, and you remember a bit of your dreams. What's Askeladd? Is that a person or a place? He's like, as a guy I really wanted to kill, spent 11 years trying to kill him. Did you get him? No, I just fucking died in a different unrelated thing. So I didn't get any satisfaction from that, and I'm not even mad at him anymore for killing my dad. So I've got no reason to live. So I'm just like going around in a fucking daze for years now. For years, yeah.
And then Spectre comes by and said, "Get to work. I got a job for you two." Get him out down to the beach and saying, "Now it's Lent," which is important to you. No, it's Lent. Oh, so the Protestant Christians here, at least he is anyway. So you can't have meat. You gotta catch some fish. Here's how you do it. I'm an old lad, so if I can do it, you can do it. Get to work. And saying, "I can't. I don't know how to do nothing. I'm just an empty man." It's just like,
I only know how to kill and murder and revenge. I've lived for revenge, and I can't learn fishing. And your man's just like, yeah, you can learn new things.
If you don't know,
you're empty.
If you don't know nothing, you can learn anything. Yeah,
exactly. The old guy's being really positive, and I appreciate how much.
You're being nice, sir. If I say, I'm just an old man who's too nosy for his own good.
He's a great grump. Because when they're thatching a roof and they're telling all this story and they kind of pause in the middle of it, it's like, wow, that's deep, Thorfinn. And he's like, hey, you fuckers, get back to work. He's like, were you eavesdropping? It's like, no, I just happened to overhear the whole thing. Shut up. It's good, great character writing. So yeah, Thorfinn's getting okay at fishing. I mean, like he's got fish and blood in him, so he should be able to get some of that eventually if he keeps at it.
We're feeling good, man. Things looking up. Except our field of crops has been completely destroyed. They've just been wrecked everything.
It's worse because they've uprooted all the wheat, and they know that would be the one thing that'll kill the wheat because they're farmers. But they're farmers. They should know the joys of growing wheat and seeing it.
Yeah, Einar was pissed. It's like no fun. No, you can't do
Einar's
it, man.
and
saying you don't fucking understand, man. They're fucking. This is like goes beyond. You should be fucking angry at this as well. This is all your fucking work. This is all you fucking been doing to go. And they're just gonna keep doing it to us, man. I know we're fucking this, but like, you gotta fucking like show some kind of emotion for this, don't you?
They do take it to what's your man's name? Who's the freed slave?
Peter.
Peter. They take it to Peter, who's like, yeah, I got bullied as well when I was a slave, so I'll fucking look into this. You leave the evidence as it is here, and I'll get on to it and we'll see what it is. Because he's like, yeah, it seems likely that the retainers would do this. I think you're right to suspect them, but you didn't see them, right? And he's like, no, we didn't fucking see him. It's like, all right, I see what I can do about it. So Einar's fucking fit to kill, but he does calm down a bit until he sees them walking down the road, and they're just like, hey, how's it going? How's your farm going, you fuckers? It's grand.
Easy, Einar, man. He ain't worth it, dude. He ain't worth it, man. Don't do it.
It's only slave wheat. It would have tasted like crap.
Einar fun saying, he's like, I'm going to get him fun saying, I'm going to hit him. Poof.
Like, it's just a long lean up for Einar throwing a punch, and Thorfinn is just right fucking in there. Breaks the guy's jaw immediately.
Oh, he fucking Kenshiro punches him, where it's just like the face is dented in, is cratered.
It's very satisfying, and like I was just like, yeah, fucking get him. And I was also thinking, this is just gonna get them in a lot of fucking trouble. But it's the kind of thing that's like, look, you really want to hit these fuckers.
Yeah. They're absolute, like, very good bastards. Who again, and they're the worst kind. They can't even see beyond themselves and saying, you're just as fucking like enslaved as these guys who are just still on this fucking farm after you've been let free. Like, fuck off somewhere else, can't you? If you want to make something of it, like. Because I guess just being fucking reminded of like, fun saying like, fun, there's grown wheat, like, and setting it to the master, like, just like us, and they're slaves. Wait a minute. But that never gets beyond that. Never get that last bit of the step in.
I mean, it's not an unusual fucking thing. Like, you get the, like, even today, like in school, you'd have like people like being like, your first years, you're shite, and then when you get to be like the second and third years, like, yeah, we're gonna bully the first years. When we get there, then I'll be on top and I'll be stomping on the necks. It's just like, no, just stop doing that.
It's a kind of contrast then, like, they have fucking no self-awareness now, and Thorfinn is like, he has this awareness now, but he can't quite put like maybe like the right name to it.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting how he says about like asked lad. It's just like no, but what's the problem? If he's dead, you got him. My friend saying, because I think it's still not the problem. Like, it's like I don't hate him anymore. I'm saying. Exactly, you don't hate him because he's the fucking man who raised you for years. It's just like, that's a complicated feeling in the process, and you are processing it if you can't quite put the words to it, but you are.
They're definitely pacing this though that it's going to end on departure. It's not going to get to fettered turn. So, ironically, the stuff they previewed at the end of last season we won't get to till season 3.
That's okay.
That's what I showed you, like on the sequel and saying, "No, this is what we're going to get to at some stage."
Yes,
but just last up in between first.
It was like, here's Einar, and here's 2 ladies who we'll get to eventually. Which is a shame because they could have ended it on the whatever the chapter is after the fettered turn storyline. But it's fine. They're adding extra material. That's what's that's part of the change of pace. And the extra material is generally improving what was there in the comic. So
and rewriting things, like you said, like making Einar less of a comedic character initially. I mean, like, he's still funny and he still makes a load of jokes, but like in this episode, he's very fucking serious. And one of the things he gets across that is obviously frustrating, and besides them ruining his crops, is like, hey, I asked your one, and yeah, she doesn't have the same deal as us. She's stuck being a slave. She's not buying her way to freedom slowly. So that sucks because I'm real sweet on her. Yeah.
So I assume this season will also end with us teasing Gudrid and Hild exactly the same as they did last time.
Still waiting. We'll get to them. We promise. History says so. We promise.
Yeah, because they're great characters as well. They're kind of like the next 2 main characters of the story. Then things I actually had the time to watch. It is High Card, episode 8, Heat Up. Heat Up, boys. It's
There's a house burns down, you get it?
Yes. Mr. Apple, though, is still trying to buy his car, and he can't stand Chris. He wants Finn to sell him a car. So he's going to storm out.
I think he just wants to hang out with Chris for some reason.
Because
he's not mad that they were holding hands for a whole episode or anything.
Whoever's driven him there in their pseudo Aston Martin has the 3 of Hearts card on their driving gloves. And then my next note is animation of this episode is rough. This is the scene with the orphans at the orphanage having a falling out. There's a new orphan. He's not getting along with the others. Lindsay's like, "Can you have a word with him, Finn? You were like this once." We'll continue to have flashbacks throughout the episode of me telling you not to
the accident.
Like yes. This child, also Lindsay, hasn't aged in 10 years. He looks exactly the same as he does in the flashback.
Fucking when he comes back, because it's Lindsay's birthday, and I was like, oh, that's real sweet. He's coming back to the old orphanage to celebrate the guy who helped raise him when his parents died in a totally traffic accident and not magic-related Knights accident. And I was just like, how old is he? 33. Fuck off, show.
Well, he's got a beard now. That means he's an old man.
He's an old man, close to the grave at 33.
Klondikes are also having a meal, but Bobby Ball's not there. Where's Bobby Ball? At this point, I was like, is he the meal? Are they eating Bobby Ball? But no, he's...
I mean, like, the way your man's carving into that fucking sweet meat, you'd swear they were eating Bobby Ball. It's finally established in this episode, he's not eating marbles. He is eating, in fact, like, I guess, gobstoppers or something, basically. Yeah. Some kind of hard candy.
Yeah, the orphan Sam, he's reading the plot. He's reading the fairy tale that we were told.
If only they'd read the book, then they'd know the plot of the show. Yeah.
Documentary.
We discovered that in the flashback that Finn's had this card since he was a kid. He tries to get on Sam's good side. He's like, I used to be like you. I used to sleep in this bed, and by this bed there's this place you can hide things. The kids won't know about it. So let's come downstairs and then go to the party. Oh no, who else has come to the party? It's Bobby Ball.
You're an orphan too? No, idiot. I'm here to kill you.
Yes. He does not change any children into balls.
Oh God, him fucking holding that new orphan's head. I was just like, oh Jesus, I don't like that. But it was uncomfortably well handled, that kind of way.
Instead, he turns Lindsay's apron that Finn got him as a birthday present.
Oh, he's turning into all their precious memories into marbles. The other thing I did like was Lindsay was like, because he said he's planning to Lindsay, you're going to close next spring, but look how much money I'm making. I'm going to buy the orphanage, and then I'm going to give you like joint ownership and we're not going to shut down. He's like, are you doing crooked shit? He's like, no, it's magic card shenanigans. It's fine. It's totally legit.
Above board, yeah.
I'll ask my boss for a ride. Yeah, so yeah, Bobby starts pinging balls across the room. So Finn has to pull his gun out in front
In
of
a
the
room
children.
full of children.
Yes.
There's gunfire
magic
and
gun.
marble fire exchange, but the marbles are basically like bullets at this stage. But yeah, it's
Bobby's been doing his research. He knows more about Finn's background than Finn does. Because
I looked it up.
Yes, I looked it up. For your parents died in a fire, so I'm going to set fire to this place while we have a fight. They end up on the roof with Sam. Sam learns to trust his friends and leaps off the roof, and they catch him in a blanket or a sheet.
I was glad Finn didn't try and jump off into that, because I was like, you just end up with a bunch of crushed children, and that's not good.
Yeah. We've had this flashback of Lindsay giving this advice about like weak people hit back. But when we get the end of the advice, though, is like
take no shit.
But it's pretty bad if you get beaten up all the time. So if somebody's really bad, just beat the shit out of them so they don't do it again.
Don't get into fights, but if you're going to get into a fight, fucking win. All right.
I'm anti-war, but I'm not a pacifist.
Yeah.
I think my favorite bit was your man that's like, haha, I've been counting your bullets. That's all the shots you have left, as he's running at him shooting, and he just fucking pistol whips him. And I was just like, yeah, idiot, he can do that. Pay attention.
Fuck.
But then, yes, Bobby's got another trick up his sleeve. He's got a second card.
That's right. I play my trump card.
Yeah, I'm going to use 2 cards at once, which definitely, at this point, he's basically, we're going to go down together in this burning build. I think the implication seems
he's just trying to kill him, basically.
Yeah, the implication seems to be using 2 cards is going to fuck your body up. Something terrible.
Well, he does turn into marbles,
like devil
so that's
fruits.
not great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, just
they
like
got different types depending on what kind of shape they are. Like devil fruits.
Yes. And he appears to be winning, and then he gets hit by a rocket out of nowhere.
Nice.
That old cliche.
And then we see somebody from across town has shot a rocket out of their glove. And was this the person who picked Mr. Apple up, or was this the person who was driving off with the cool one of the Klondikes after the party?
I was thinking, was it the same person who made infinity bombs at the start of this show?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was. Yeah.
I didn't go back and check. You see,
I think it was the one from the Klondikes, because they were talking about one. We're going to start us a little gang war and take over this city. Is basically why I was referring over dinner there.
Yeah. So that's Bobby taken care of. He's hit with a rocket. And that means Finn doesn't die from being choked.
When he lost his marbles.
I mean, like, the orphanage is still burned down, so that sucks.
Yes, and Finn's like, Lindsay, why did you lie to me? My parents didn't die in a car crash. They died in a sort of a stately home being set fire, and there was also a red-eyed knight wandering around as it was happening.
Oh, the other bad news is that Sam's book that contains the plot was also caught in the fire. So he gave up on that to trust his friends. And it was like, that's a good arc, but it's like, if only the characters could read the plot, then they'd know what was happening.
It's all kind of very cutting as well, because what happened. Like, hey, we threw you this like birthday party when I came back to visit your orphan. And saying it's like, Finn, a word in private. I think probably shouldn't come around here no more. It's just kind of fun being a lot of trouble in it. But
I mean, he was right. Finn, like, very soon after that, like, summons a gun, starts a gunfight, and sets fire to the whole fucking orphanage. So he was right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I kind of have wondered now when Lindsay fucking kind of really wanted to go. Okay, I guess he's happy all the kids are safe and no one was killed except for Bobby.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
But like, no, maybe the insurance is really good in it. And it's fun. Well, maybe it'll be fine.
Well,
I suppose the issue was trying to rehome all these kids now.
Well, he said he was looking into, like,
immediately rather than like a little bit over whatever time they had left.
Like until next year, basically. Yeah.
I wonder if the Pinochle Corporation might, the Deep Pockets might be able to find a place to sort this out. I mean,
the guy.
I have the playing card of summon orphanage.
Well, yeah, one of them does. One of them can convert his money in his bank account into another orphanage immediately if he needed to.
If he wanted.
Yes. I think also a big part of this episode is Finn has not figured out, because hey, he's only 17, He's not figured out, like, the important thing that's happening here is the care Lindsay gives to the children, not the building itself.
No, fucking doesn't matter where that happens as long as these kids are being taken care of. Yeah.
Yes, but Finn has got the attachment to the actual physical building, which is why that's kind of disconnected in his head at this point. But yeah, I love the fact that Mr. Apple is not just this throwaway character. He's somehow part of the bigger plot as well.
Yeah, not just that he's recurring, but that he has someone on his employ or manipulating him with cards. Yeah.
He's a very important customer.
Not the biggest plot twist this week. That will be when we get to Giant Beast of Ass, which has an amazing plot.
I so want to get to that. Oh my god. But I'm not going to say that.
Before we get to that, though, we got Vampire Dies in No Time, Season 2, Episode 8. Oh, Nude, Handa's Dadandandan talk, and Will the Moon Rise Again over Shin-Yoko? So first part is
best opening this week easily.
There was a
giant arse walks onto screen.
It's only a baby, don't hurt it.
Take that beast of giant arse, fucking have some balls and have a giant arse walk on screen in the first fucking shot.
Giant arse of the beast.
Yeah.
Yes, so I think we saw this in a previous episode. The mad scientist was doing something to one of Nudendium's babies, and it has become huge and is terrorizing the city.
So it is all his fault, and everyone blames him for it. Nobody blames Nudendium, because he literally just wants to give people flower genitals and raise a bunch of baby Nudendiums. As vampires go, he's all right.
Yes. It's launching seeds, and if they
swallow them or get touched by them.
If they get touched by them, they sprout on their heads, and the only protection is to eat Nudendium seeds, so your clothes fly off, and you're now wearing flowers as underwear.
Flower bikini is fun saying. Well, but fun. Who's got guts to do that fun? It's the way to do fun. And Maria straight in her fun saying, "Yeah, I've got it. I'm in." I'm not ashamed. Come on.
Nudendium wants to take care of it, so they catapult him, and he gets stuck in the giant arse's arsehole. This is after loads of attacks. You
gotta play around a prop like that.
Yes, loads of the attacks have just simply made the arse bigger.
Bigger and therefore funnier. Yeah.
Yes. Then the scientist shows up. He's got one possible cure. There's only one sample of it. One of you will have to do it. The two who have already wearing the are protected against the giant arse by eating the Nudendium seeds.
They're already infected with a different kind of flower thing, and you can't be infected with two different flower things, as we know. Yeah.
They volunteer, but Ronaldo's like, no, I'll do it. He eats the seed, runs at the arse. It launches seeds at him. He dodges them all deftly, at which point
he's dodging every blow. It's
points out that if he's so good at dodging these, why did he need to eat the seed in the first place?
And he's like, oh shit, I didn't think of that.
Well, you don't know if this is going to be the no hit and run. You know, you don't want to be fun make a card claim up front because you're going to look like a real idiot afterwards if you don't land it.
Yeah.
He injects it. Half of it turns into wood, and Nudendium, who has somehow climbed out of the arse and is now standing on top of a building, hugs it until it seemingly dies, but then it just splits.
It's going to be okay, little guy. And it is, because it just turns back into a little guy.
Yes.
And no one blames Nudendium. They all blame the scientist. The little bush shoots seeds at the scientist's face and everything. They're just like, this is your fucking fault.
That's because he tries to he tries to claim it's his potion.
He solved the problem.
Solved the problem, yeah.
You caused the problem. You solved it as well, but you did cause it.
Yeah.
He provided a solution, and Ronaldo solved it.
Yes. Second part is it's all about Handa's mum again. This time she's joined the knitting club, and she's met this older gentleman who she's going to go and meet at the shopping mall. Handa's like,
"Oh, that's lovely that you're making friends." Wait, that fucking creep.
Well, no, you see, before he doesn't know it's that creep yet, he just wants to make sure it's not a creep, and it is the worst creep it could be.
See, there's worse creeps, but he looks like he's not going to be a creep. He looks just like a guy, just like a little dandy kind of guy.
Yes.
Just a lewd talk vampire. And you kind of wonder for saying, this guy, this dude, this phone, this guy is skeezy as all get out.
He's going to make my mother say lewd shit, and I can't have that.
And then you're watching him thinking, oh, well, maybe there's some hidden side to him that we don't know about. It's going to come out in this. No, of course not.
It's his plan is more sinister than that. I'm here to get her son to say lewd shit in front of his mam, which is worse. Ha ha! That's my evil fucking plan.
So Handa runs into the green-haired guy and the burdock root vampire who are out shopping together.
They're just best friends now, are they? Yeah.
They are, yes.
I love
it's
that.
Fantastic. Yeah, I like the way the things escalate off screen between various characters. So it's like the relationships make sense when you see them again, but you don't need the details of how they got any further. So they try to get him to attack him instead because Mum's getting mad at him for constantly bad-mouthing her date. Apparently there is a dad, and they are still married. We haven't met the dad yet. I think we'll meet the dad soon.
Okay, I'm wondering what the fuck is with that relationship, that this whole situation is so fucked up. But yeah, the vampire manages to hypnotize him under the table when he's not looking, into saying how he likes big old boobs and he wants to be sandwiched between them.
He likes old women with big boobs, and at that point, three old women with big boobs walk by.
Hey.
And they're like,
you don't say.
And start pursuing him around the shopping mall.
Yeah.
One of them appears to be drawn like the vampire empress and her sister, so I assume that's their mum, who we'll eventually get more details of at some point. So yes, he's out of the picture now, and then eventually Handa gets hypnotized as well.
Handa, but he's like, I need to tell him to fuck off, but I'm just going to say my most innermost lewd thoughts out loud. But the vampire kind of goading him is like, go on, Handa, do you have something to say, Handa? It's like, hey, quit bullying my son. He's a sensitive boy, all right?
I shall be helping my mother.
And then, obviously, he locks himself in his room, so his mom can't shower affection on him.
Yes. Yeah.
So shy. Who'd come up on his name?
I think somewhere in the midst of this, the Lewd Tongue vampire gets punched in the face as well.
Yeah, he does. No, because you just kind of play up and say, well, see, I was just trying to test your will, because you must be a very good son to not care if you put out that much.
Hit him anyway. Yeah.
Yes, because he admits that his original plan was just to get a married woman to say lewd things.
This was an improvement over it, basically.
Yeah. And then the third part is, will the moon rise again over Shin-Yoko? It's the return of Mikazuki, the Dampier from Tokyo. He's now wants Ronaldo to take him under his wing as his apprentice.
He's read both volumes of Ronaldo Chronicles, and they're fucking amazing.
So cool.
Yeah.
It's gonna draw on patrol and take out like Shin Yokohama's fucking best and worst. And it's all the most embarrassing vampires you could come across who do the most embarrassing things to you. But he's ready every time. I was saying, you didn't know I'd be wearing like the micro bikini under my clothes. So even if you did it to me, I'm already wearing one. I could be embarrassed by it.
I did like the way your man's just like, well, you're wearing you're not even wearing a micro bikini. You've embraced the lifestyle and you're wearing a fucking pink one. So I was just like, I respect game. Good day, sir. I tip my hat to you. And then he still fucking knocks him out. He's just like, gotcha, fucker. You're not going to get me a second time.
Just run that ploy a couple of times with the different ones. I was saying, no, kid, you don't get it. You got a lot of heart, and I know you're going out to be based on a bus and that, but as I'm sure you might have inferred by now, there's no way to be a cool vampire hunter in this town. The books are just like, they're just the highlights,
Yeah, they're the best bits. They're the bits where I'm running towards the fucking giant arse, but I don't mention that it's a giant arse, and I have to inject it with the thing. It's like, I put all the cool bits in the books.
But at various points there, Ronaldo is thinking this is the opportunity to replace Drauk with this kid.
Drauk is following them, going like, oh, fuck, I gotta interfere with this, but I'm literally useless and have no way of doing that.
I'm going to lose my new Drauk's castle. Oh, no, John and Drauk's, because I like the way John comes first in the declaration of whose castle it belongs to.
The correct order, yes.
You gotta give him something,
Because, John is also distraught about the possibility that he's going to be kicked out of the house.
Well, where's he going to keep throwing that DJ gear? He's can't just kick it out of locker. That thing costs fucking a fortune if you keep it too long.
I wasn't expecting that guy to show up again quite so soon, and also to
leave as quickly.
Yes.
I'm going to leave and never come back. Probably he's probably going to come back.
Yeah.
But it's just a train ride away, so it's like he can come back at any time,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
nice. Yeah, yeah.
But the rent is cheaper, you know. It's got different vibe to Tokyo. Tokyo's fun, so big, you know, and hustle and bustle, you know, fun. Shin-Yoko, you know, it's still a city, but you know, it feels like it's a bit, you know, a little less crazy. It's got its own thing going on. It's like the Cork city of actually no, Osaka's more like the Cork city of Japan. That's got a way different kind of vibe to it.
But yeah, I mean, like it's safe is the thing. Like the most dangerous vampire has a boyfriend that basically keeps him on a leash, unbeknownst to both of them. So you know, it's grand. All the other vampires are just really annoying.
Yes, yeah, because the kiss is in this one as well, where his attempt to
become unattractive.
Wayla her is still wearing this dorky t-shirt, of which Renal was like, "You think that t-shirt's dorky?" I assume we've seen him wearing that t-shirt in the past.
It's like it's a sandwich and like a picture of a sandwich or something. It's not a great shirt.
It's a real fucking Saitama caliber shirt. It's just like phrased with bad drawing on it.
But then all she does is just create another sexual fantasy about somebody who would dress like this instead. Who else? What other vampires did they run into in this one?
How does he stop the other vampires?
Well, it's in three. So you have the kissing vampire, the micro bikini vampire, and
what's the third vampire? There was definitely a third one because they tend to do it in threes now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can't think of it.
No,
I know some perv.
One of the additional
some undead pervert.
Yeah.
We only have perverted vampires in.
Well, no, there's also the one who's incredibly murderous, who no one now takes seriously because he can't manage to be incredibly murderous anymore.
Yeah, that's the most dangerous vampire, and he's not a threat, so I wouldn't worry about. Yeah.
Yes, because he feels threatened by the vampire hunters now. Yeah, and there's Drauk's family who aren't perverts; they're relatively normal.
I mean, his dad really likes his mom, which is weird, apparently.
Oh, it's sick. He loves his wife. Disgusting.
I don't know what Drauk's perversion is, but I know one of them is feeding himself into a conveyor belt. Yeah.
The sweetest taste of all, human misery.
He's the etiquette breacher.
Oh yeah.
Where his thing was, I will defeat you, or I'll pretend I'm going to defeat you, and then I'll run away. The most terrible etiquette breach of all, and Nude is also there. But yeah, the big story is Lips and the micro bikini. Yeah, another good, funny vampire dies in no time. I just love stories which are that length of the time. It's my ideal length of a story in an anime or any other particular show.
And you can really cram the jokes in, and if one part isn't particularly funny, don't worry, there's 2 more parts, so you're grand.
Yeah.
Suddenly,
Egyptian God, Season 2, Episode 8, Suddenly Bedhead. So, who is it? It is... my brain's gone blank. And Horus. Horus gets out of bed, and the little antennae hair thing that Horus is sometimes drawn with is all skew with. Set, quote unquote, tries to help them with it, but tears it off. Then,
initially, said it's like, oh, he'll look like quite the fool. This is all going according to Set's plan. That it's just working out the way. But then he kind of feels bad about it. It's like, here, let me help you. And then he accidentally yanks it off, trying to straighten it. So no one recognizes him, which Set finds very funny. But then it's like, no, it's me. And he pulls up the thing and puts it on his head. It's like, oh, fuck, you got a haircut. But he kept the hair.
Then when he's asleep, Set borrows the wheat sheaf from the hair god and tries to make it grow back by doing the dance.
But he spends all night doing it, and he's there on the floor asleep in the morning.
And when he wakes up, they've now got an afro, which turns out just to be a prank, because underneath the afro, when he takes the afro wig off later, it's grown back, and it is the normal curly shape that it is. The end.
Kids, take care of your hair.
Yes. don't pull your brother's hair out.
Running theme, so bad hair days and how to overcome them.
Then Bungo Stray Dogs, episode 46, A Dream of Butterflies. It's flashback time.
Kind of this almost as I was saying, like fun. Like Yoshino is an important part of the team. They never do anything with her besides her just be the medic and things. No, just do some kind of like rad shit. Fun saying, oh yeah, I did a lot of rad shit back in the war, and I regret it immensely. Let me tell you about it.
I was 11 years old.
Because when we go with the timeline of how old these guys are, it's like, oh yeah, she'd have to be a very small child during the whole Powers
what
War.
Is this?
Well, as we know, an island came out of the ocean, and instead of like going across it with zip lines and stuff, they put a lot of guys with powers there because modern technology doesn't work there. So machine guns, they work, but that's about it. Like, so it'll be
the old
a
gun
war of
excuse.
superpowers.
She was brought into this unit by Mori, and because essentially his plan was, well, we could win this war by just constantly sending soldiers back into the war by using her ability to...
And all the soldiers are initially delighted. It's like, oh, I lost my eyes. And she's like, heal. And it's like, my eyes grew back. This is great.
Yes, you're our goddess.
And you have one guy who can produce like small bits of metal as his power. So he makes her like a little brooch, which is the brooch she wears. Or not a brooch, a hair thing.
A hairpin, hair clip.
Yeah, the butterfly hairpin that she wears. And he's like, oh, you'll be my goddess. I'm going to carve it. I'm keeping track of it by, I think it's like just... is the character he's carving out, and he adds another line to it every time she saves his life, and it's like, yeah, I mean, like you're just like fantastic, helping me out. Yeah,
kind of loses novelty by the 50th time though, because these dudes are getting sent out, and but isn't that they're coming back fresh? No, their body has been refreshed, but they remember being killed, they remember being gassed, they remember being blown up, they remember being shot to shit. They remember. And
the guys who don't survive, they remember every death that actually happens that they don't manage to save. And unlike normal military operations, where it's not, I've forgotten the term for it, but when you lose half your unit.
Annihilate is what they call
Annihilate is the term. Yeah, you automatically have to retreat because you literally don't have the manpower. They don't run out of manpower, so these guys don't ever get to retreat, and it's having a psychological effect on them. Obviously, it would.
Well, they've been doing this for untold days now. Fun. You can't see that just for one soldier he's been fucking brought back 50 times or so, and then that's just him, And that might didn't say he got fucking like mortally wounded every day either, So they could be doing this for fucking just however many fucking weeks or months or whatever.
Yeah, presumably.
And she's like an angel, all right, angel of death.
Then after the war, she's in a mental health facility, and Mori tries to get her out because he wants to use her to overthrow the current port mafia boss.
And just to show he was evil at the time, like basically he was kind of like, hey, save this guy. And she's like, no, I don't want to do it. He wants to die. And he's like, blam, shoots him in the gut. It's like, all right, now he's definitely going to die. Save him right now or he fucking bleeds out. He's always been evil.
And at this point, but the head of the agency, whose name I always forget because he barely shows up in the story, shows up to fight him. Also, he's now got his gift where it's like, oh, that's why his gift looks like what Mori's gift looks like, is because he's recreated the 11-year-old Yasano as his gift, which is probably also why he has the gift tell him off all the time, because he's probably subconsciously
trying to recreate
guilty,
that relationship,
but also subconsciously guilty about everything he's done.
But that's a distraction. While one guy's fighting with a katana and another guy's fighting with two tiny scalpels, it's just like, I'm here to bust you out by slowly wheeling this wheelchair out of this whole situation.
Good job, Rampo.
And then back to the present day when they're going to go through this door to the transaction site.
I appreciate that. It's not only her backstory and it makes her more interesting, and like you said, Niall gives her something to fucking do, that kind of thing. But she's also telling it to the other two characters who have fuck all to do. It's like, I'm going to open up with you guys about my whole backstory. We don't get to do much in this show, so let's have a bit of a chat while we're walking down this long corridor.
Yeah, it's just like, this like as they say, like we kind of have you waiting for one thing. All these people fucking need me, fucking need me. I just fucking do this one thing. Well, you're in the right place because we don't need you to do anything. Hopefully, we won't need you to do any of that for us. No, all going well, but like we're just trying to get the best place for you, like because we're not going to demand that of you, like
Yeah, and even your man, the ginger guy, says, "I'm going to offer myself up to the port mafia. Presumably, turning invisible would be really good for doing a bunch of crimes, so they'll probably want me." So they are comrades in that regard. Yeah.
If this like arc is still like ongoing as well, I'm not even going to see like the end of it like here. No, but get some space for B team. No, it shouldn't be called B team, but they're the team that
they don't get much to do. Yeah.
If I say the fucking you fucking like fun make us invisible, fucking Kenji Miyazawa, fucking like lift that boulder, It's like I don't lift the boulder, can't do anything else, anything else at all, I've got like fun thoughts in here as well. Like I come up with some good lines sometimes. Just lift the boulder. It's like okay.
Yeah, particularly once they moved. God, I can't remember her name. The assassin from the Port Mafia. Once she moved,
Kyoka.
Yeah, once she was in the agency as well, it was like okay, yes. It's like it's
they just can't muscle their way through any problem now, can't they? We got a Tiger Man, we got an assassin, we have fucking we got Kenji Miyazawa as well, I suppose. If you need a nerd muscle dude.
I mean, like the general weirdness of the kind of powers on hand, like super strength is like really like it's like that's a very basic superpower, but it's not like I can make my sword infinity long. That's a weird power.
Yeah, I think these guys are gonna have both the dogs and the God, what are they called? Decay of the Angel are gonna have some weird powers because we still don't really know what Golgol's thing is because he was lying about some of what his power was.
He told us one truth and 3 lies, which is true.
But you shouldn't believe he's actually dead, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, exactly. And we know
that was very put on. Oh no, I've been chainsawed in half. Blah.
Yeah. And we know another member of the team has the ability to swap information they want with information you need out of their head, which again seems like a very strange non-combat power, which will, I presume, move the plot along by basically suddenly our heroes will get pieces of information they need, but also the villains will as well.
I mean, like a stand ability, it is all in how you understand it and how to apply it. Because maybe like the information you need right now is how do they know like 7th Dan black belt karate? I could use some of that right now and beat the shit out of them with that rook, for example.
There we got Giant Beasts of Arse, episode 9, The Warrior and the Healer.
This is the second tragic war medic backstory that we get this week.
Yes, this is Romana's backstory, which we get a little bit of. There's not as much time spent as everybody else's.
No.
Essentially, it's explaining why she doesn't trust paladins. And indeed, possibly men in general.
So the reason, like, basically, the Hornarians have seen the devastation wrought, like the chief, something the long arm, I've forgotten his name, has seen the devastation wrought by that big explosion last episode. And he's like, fuck, okay, we gotta lock that child up now. And it's just like, hey, are you against us? We're trying to move on from this place and move on to the next village, as is our way. It's like, no. You're a fucking weapon. That's dangerous. We're not going to allow you to move out. And then the old man shows up. It's like, I'm here to fucking murder everybody because I can't let anybody know that child is a weapon. So I'm going to kill that child. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill all the Hornarians.
Whoa.
Like, he's doing it much more calmly than I am, but it was very funny. Him showing up, it's like, gotta murder everyone, I guess.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, I'm gonna have to murder you. But then Romana's like, well, that ain't going to work. Even if you murder all of us, that information will still get out because the chapeau, I sent her out for medicine and she's not in the village at the moment.
And he's like, is that like, and she like walks up to his sword, like nearly cuts her neck, like just showing her resolve. And he's like, holy shit. Like, I didn't expect you to walk into my sword a little bit. And he's like, is that true? He's like, yeah, she went to the other village. It's like, fuck. Well, I guess that plan's out. I'll put away my sword. No murdering everyone today.
Yes.
All right.
It's like, I didn't really want to play the bad guy anyway. So
yeah.
then they have a sit down and they try and figure out what is the plot we can do. Whether it's like, okay, we'll tell all the tribes that Jiro's going to take care of it because they trust Jiro. And we'll avoid war. Because that's the other thing they're trying to avoid is war between the tribes and the field folk.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons the Hornarians didn't want to let the kid go, because it was like, that'll be like we let a human weapon go, that's like full war between the tribes, and we don't want to start a world war again.
But us, the viewer, at this point, know stuff that these characters don't.
Yes.
Is that we've seen a scene where all the chapeaus are talking to each other psychically, presumably.
They're in like a psychic space, and all the different chapeaus are sitting across from each other, and like the dog chapeau, do they suspect anything?
The big reveal, yes, the big reveal is that back in the Beastman village, the cat chapeau and the dog chapeau changed places.
They change hats.
Yes, and there was a clue which I'd missed. Is at some point during that village, the 2 episodes with the village, is the cat chapeau said "one" at the end of their sentences instead of "yeah."
Yeah, it's like, oh, you said a dog pun. It's like, no, I did meowed. It's like, because sometimes they forget when they switch hats, and I was like, what the fuck is going on with that? Yes. That was quite the fucking.
Because it's the dog ones is the one who's forgetful because it forgets again when it swaps back.
Because it swaps back and it's like, wait a minute, you didn't buy the medicine yet? It's like, I'm
sorry,
Bark,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's just because it's now wearing the dog hat.
It's the cat now.
It should be so. Yeah, it's back to being the dog, and it's still behaving like the cat. Yeah. Yeah. So now presumably the original chapeau from the first 2 episodes and some of episode 3 is now back in charge of the body that's wandering around with them. But
I'm going to need someone to make me out.
Fucking Skullman bullshit right here. Who's a fucking real chapeau?
Yeah, I need someone to put me up a corkboard and like draw lines as to which chapeau we're looking at any given scene.
But Niall, this isn't even the biggest reveal yet. There's in this conversation.
My mind initially.
Yes, in this conversation, they mention that there's a human chapeau.
Oh man,
what is that?
They wear like a little baby on their head.
Yeah, I presume a little baby. And they make man-based jokes.
I'm assuming it's the Emperor.
You think you think there's a man on his head, or he's on a bigger man's head? Because we do have giant beasts of ours. So, he could be sitting on a giant for all we know. That's the throne.
Yeah, so I did take loads of screenshots of this. Kumi isn't a peckle. This is what the chicken one's saying. Because the Hornarians captured her. The dog says, so we can't let them take it and change the hierarchy. The ring has finally found its proper master. The bear one says, everything appears to be okay on the Western continent. The lion says, the mountaineers have suffered some rawful losses. The cow one says, the Securians haven't made any moves.
It's so good, man.
Yeah. Anyway, it's clear, yes, the chapeau, as you might have suspected watching the thing, have been pulling all the strings. It was
I love it, man. This show's this show is really
Giving the ring
according to plan.
Yes, giving the ring to Kumi in episode 1 is their plan, and now now they've got to get her to where she needs to go with the ring and stop anyone else from getting the ring.
Like the animation in this episode was a bit ropey. There was a particular shot of Romana like leaving the hut that was done on threes that looked like she teleported away from the fucking hut, and I was just like, fucking hell, but. Like the writing's so fucking good.
Yes.
And those animal pun translations, like top notch.
Yeah. And our 2 lads are back next week.
21 and 24.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that was the thing, because we see the stuff it's like, oh no, like I guess the baddies, like I was thinking that either was it this episode or the last one. It's like, ooh, they're all taking drugs and they'll all go crazy and kill each other. And I was like, oh no, not 21 and 24, because there is a shot of them as they're going through the baddies, basically. I hope those two are okay.
You can't believe a cat was behind it all along.
And also the general is also going to the Securians, and she's beaten our heroes to it, because we see her after the credits arriving at the Securian, who are apparently the great sages. They've got statues of the great
humanoid
that we saw in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And also the Securians just seem to look like normal human beings.
But they did appear out of a floating platform, like not teleporting, but like they phased out of a fucking solid block of stone, basically, and they're just like, oh, I guess you guys are here now. You remembered
there was
our
a door.
Yeah, I mean, they have high technology in this place where they literally have spaceships, which I'm not sure what that means, but we'll see. Oh, we do check in. They send a message to because like we should send a message to the Mountaineers. They'll help us, and they don't know that the Mountaineers have been like fucking decimated. But Boulder's in charge now because he was the next guy in line, and he's met up with the leader from the what are the Beastmen called?
Yeah, I just call it
from the prior one, and they've gotten the message from the big-eared dog who can fly. That's another reveal.
That was another good reveal. It's like, how is he going to get there?
It's a flying squirrel.
Yeah,
it's a flying squirrel wolf with bunny ears. Fucking love it.
And to be fair, the characters also respond exactly how the viewer does, of going, "Well, that's cool."
Good episode. Yeah, really enjoyed
it. It is, but yeah, the chapeaus are a great invention. God damn, they're such a great fantasy creature.
They're so good. Yeah.
Just think of all the puns you can write.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it wasn't for the fact that there's a conspiracy as well, that would be enough of a reason to keep them in a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
But,
if it's got a big conspiracy, at least it could be this adorable.
Yes, exactly.
It may as well be something a bit more appealing to the whilst crushing us under its heel.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm still not clear as to which bit is the sentient part. The identical
is it the hat or is it the identical child? I don't know. No one can know. Why does everyone trust them implicitly? Why are they speaking for every village elder? Do they already control the world? I guess we'll find out soon.
It is something like one of those fun things, if a centaur wore pants, would it be A, B, or C?
Is it a cat riding a child or a child wearing a psychic cat? What's happening?
Is it a kind of plant? Is it just like the stem and this is a flower? No, what kind of? Because anything could be on the table here, folks. We're under the looking glass.
The other thing is, besides that fucking amazing slap bass in the opening, it changes the bit where all the chapeaus are there dancing into a much more sinister fucking bit. That's good shit.
Moo World Order.
Yeah. I still think my favorite opening for this season is Vampire Dies in No Times.
It's a good one, the concert and everything. Yeah,
it's the combination of the song and also how much fun the characters seem to have.
Yeah, I think I'm usually watching that one at work and watching it on the tablets and the work Wi-Fi. It's actually more of a pain in the ass to try and skip through, the intro bit. So I just I'll leave it run then, but I will leave it run. If I happen to watch it at home, I'll still leave it run because I'm actually, it's getting under my skin a bit. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's also an easy dance to do. So
the roly-poly. You can do that.
It's lame, but it's very earnest about it. If it's good enough for like the granddad Dralok, the Lord of all vampires, who am I to say?
Oh, I did not know. I have not spotted this on his Wikipedia page before. Is the writer of this Giant Beast of Arse? As a college student, did a translation of the English tabletop RPG Torg.
Is this his campaign?
It is. These Nitro Plus things are those feeling what them usually is.
Yes.
I mean, like if they can translate it well to a show, then I'm fucking fine with it.
So they've gotten better at it, because their name was mud with me for a while, but then I guess the writers or these I guess the group can change, over time, whoever's in, whoever's out of it. It's definitely improved. I know how to make things that are appealing to a sane person.
But yeah, Torg of all things, that was one of these 90s ones where they were like, this is going to revolutionize role playing, and it didn't. It was kind of like a Rift's knockoff.
If I get all mixed up on, and is Torg the one where it has ridiculously high statistics for things can be they can be big, large, huge.
That's Rifts.
Colossal.
That's Rifts.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Rifts is the one which has damage and mega damage.
Yeah.
To distinguish, which I think is out of. I think that came out of the Robotech role-playing games. I think that's where they created that mechanism. Because I think they wanted to have something which represented damage that giant robots can take and damage that humans can take. And if you're a human, you don't want to be taking the damage that giant robots take.
Yeah.
0.2 mega damage to kill you outright.
Like you were saying, recently showed up in that Gundam. It's like, if you're a human, a giant robot can do a lot of damage to you.
Yeah.
Oh man, but even the best one that Gundam has done. I've seen a civilian get crushed by an ejecting machine. Gundam says machine gun bullet case. The bullet case is full. It's the size of a fucking of a hatchback car, and just fucking smashes him immediately.
But I mean, the thing that does appeal about that role playing game is that it might have stats for a chapeau. So I don't know if that's true, but if it is, it makes it tempting.
Is it a race or is it gear? No.
Exactly.
Is it an artifact?
Torg was quite similar to Rifts. And the idea was it's our world, but something's happened to our world, and so depending on which part of the world you go to, you might be in a different genre.
Ooh, okay.
But its gimmick in terms of rules was that it had a drama deck. Which I've never played. I just remember as I'm looking at this was definitely the thing they were pushing. So a hand of cards dealt to each player at the beginning of the game. So this is where the TSR got their idea for the Saga deck, I assume, and I've used that in the Marvel game they put out in around 99. That was a good system because it was you could use them to influence play. I think the drama deck, whereas the Saga one actually used it as the replacement for dice as well.
Oh, yeah.
As the DM could also just flip the top card and use the stuff written on it to say, I've read ideas. I'm going to come up with a random idea from my random ideas deck.
Sometimes a randomizer helps it if you're good at ad-libbing off of random. Yeah.
Like I'm Brian Eno or William Burroughs. As was the
all you need is a lot of heroin.
That is true. Yeah, that's what people take during role playing game sessions, isn't it? It's not just sugary snacks and crisps.
Well, the cool ones anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, over the edge. Over the Edge was the game which definitely, when I first ran it with a group, they said, "Is this Naked Lunch the role playing game?" And to a certain extent, yes. But no, you don't have to take heroin to play Over the Edge. That's enough role-playing discussion on this anime podcast, though, as I say, is relevant because there's definitely people in the anime industry
who started it,
who are adapting their campaign, which is fine if it's fun.
Or indeed with Nitro Plus, definitely have connections to.
If that other show could get a cartoon made of their fucking role-playing campaign, then this is fine. This is fine.
Exactly, righty-ho, back next week with the last episode of this season's of Iruma. I forget that there's so many. I thought there was 23, only 21, which may have been what the case was last season as well. I'm fine with it. 21's fine. You don't have to press on to 26 if you don't have to.
I'd be delighted to have more, but I'm always happy when Iruma comes back. So
as I say, those would have been the light novel episodes, and just going to chop those off and do don't even bother, don't even touch it.
I mean, I think Iruma's at its point of success now, where I'm sure they're discussing should we have some light novels.
Some of that sweet light novel.
Sabnok Gaiden, yes.
Yeah, because there's people asking where to read light novels. So maybe it has already happened. I
A
don't
very
know.
dark room.
Or just maybe anime fans of a certain age just assume there's always a light novel at this point.
There's usually a tie-in manga to this, even it was an original manga only idea that it's like, here's like a tie-in, manga version of that, but it's not like watching it on TV.
Yeah.
It won't be as good, but it's there.
Right, we'll be back next week with more of the same and hopefully less painkillers in my bloodstream. Bye for now.
Bye.
See ya.